order the regular meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, May 15, 2023, at 5:30 p.m. Let's all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Thank you, Father. We praise you for all your mercies, your blessings upon us. Thank you, my Father, for taking care of us, my Father, our citizens, our town, as we experience this heavy downpour of rain. We ask, my Father, that you, first of all, ask for unity within our community. The elections are over with, my Father. People have spoken. We might agree, we might not agree, but we should come together. I pray that we do for the love of our city. It takes all of us to prosper and to move Aransas Pass forward. Let's pray that we come together and work as one for the betterment of Aransas Pass. I pray your blessings upon our city staff, our city workers, the council, my Father, that as we move forward, we come together as one and we work together to come up with the plans to move Aransas Pass forward. This I ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we're going to go to special consideration items, which is consider an act on ordinance canvassing and declaring the results of the general election held on May 6, 2023 in the city of Aransas Pass, Texas, for the purpose of electing a mayor, council member place 1, and council member place 3.
Yes, the purpose of this item is to canvass the results of the election that was held on Saturday, May 6, 2023, for the election of a mayor, council member place 1, and council member place 3. You have a canvass report before you, and that is the report that was submitted to us by San Patricio County Elections. And I have the tabulation report, so I'll read the totals from the tabulation report compared to the canvass report that you have before you. So we'll start with the mayor's race. Ram Gomez received 594 votes. Jason Followell received 267 votes. And for council member place 1, Carrie Scruggs received 475. Hector Rios received 389. Council member place 3, Joe Dominguez received 489 votes, and Eric Kindervater received 368. So if you concur with these totals, you have an ordinance before you to canvass those election results.
I make a motion to act on an ordinance canvassing and declaring the results of the general election held on May 6, 2023 in the city of Aransas Pass, Texas, for the purpose of electing a mayor, council member place 1, and council member place 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Conduct swearing in of newly elected council members.
Okay. So we all want to come down to the well? Okay, so you raise your right hand. And then I state your name.
I, Carrie Scruggs,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of place 1
of the city of Aransas Pass,
of the city of Aransas Pass,
state of Texas,
state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United
of
States
the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Okay, you're official.
Okay, now we're gonna go to consider an act on selecting a mayor pro tem for the ensuing year.
I make a motion nominating Carrie Scruggs to continue as our mayor pro tem.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're gonna go to the consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of this item unless a council member so requests. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
I move on the approval of the April 17th, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're gonna go to public hearings, which is first public hearing on the operation budget for fiscal year 2023-2024. The second and public hearing is scheduled for September 5th, 2023. It is case number PZ 2305-07, public hearing on a request submitted by La Fonda Mexican Foods LLC for a conditional use permit for 9 months to place 2 reefer trailers, multi-temperature refrigerator trailers on property located at 939 West Wheeler to use freezer storage for the food products prior to shipping to customers. The property is property zone GB.
No,
No.
we have to do that. The
Doing the
calendar. The
The
first-
public hearing
The public hearing.
on the budget.
Oh,
We have to do that.
Not yet, Jose, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay.
Miss-
I got too fast.
Mr. Mayor and Council, what this is the first, as is indicated there, the first of 2 public hearings related to the budget, and gives citizens an opportunity, if they wish, to, prior to getting into the extensive details of the budget, gives citizens an opportunity to talk about their wishes as far as this budget goes. And I know there are some comments that people would like to make, and even a PowerPoint they would like to make to you at this first of 2 budget hearings. So Myron, I think you're up.
Thank you, council. My name's Myron Schrader. I live at 246 East Stoddard Avenue here in Aransas Pass. And I have a short presentation to show you some of the things that I think should be done here in the city. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some drainage issues at Faith Lutheran Church, of which I'm a member. Also talk a little bit about pump station and the associated channel, and incorporate that into more of a citywide drainage issue. So the next slide will show you, this is the picture of the church. It's located here on lot just down the street from City Hall. Looks pretty good. It does, you know, there's no water there, but it wasn't raining. The next slide shows what it was like on the 9th. That was, the news media said it was 4 inches. And this happens whenever the rain gets to 2 to 3 inches that we get, it will pond like that. It reaches from where you see in the street halfway up to the church building on the sidewalk. The church is considering the possibility that elderly people who do come could be injured, slip, fall, whatever, and a lot of times it happens on Sunday morning, and it can impact the attendance. So I checked the area, and there are no ditches or any drainage lines along Watt Street from 8th to the 11th. The closest drainage is just right over here on the corner of the city property on Lot. On Matlock, we found 2 drainage storm drains installed along that street between 8th and 11th. What we're asking.
Excuse me.
Yes.
And this is on North, correct? North?
Yes.
Okay, that's right over there. Okay.
It's right
Okay.
here, yeah.
Okay.
It's right behind the, what was it, Old Whataburger, or It's the Mexican restaurant there.
Correct. Okay,
in the corner.
thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry
it's
for
right-
the interruption.
No problem, no problem. It usually takes 1 to 2 days for this to drain or dry up. We have a ladies group who comes in and quilts on Tuesdays, and they donate a lot of their quilts. They do it to local charities, and they've also donated them to disaster areas as well. So that can compromise, people coming and helping with that. Typically, it takes about 1 week to completely dry where there's nothing there, 1 to 2 days, and you can start to have entry. So in order to find out what could be done about it, we went and talked to Public Works, had a meeting there, and they were very cooperative, very helpful, and suggested some things that could possibly be done. One of those things is putting in a storm drain into the parking lot. Now, the issue there is, in order to do that, you have to run the line down 8th Street, go underneath 8th, and put it into an existing sewer on, what's that, Matlock? Matlock. Yeah, it's on Matlock. But the problem with that is it would take up their entire maintenance budget to do that. And I'd have to come before you anyway and ask for that. So what we're asking is for help by including budget item in the storm for the city to install storm drains along West Lot Avenue and add additional storm drains along West Matlock Avenue to improve the drainage and reduce ponding. And the reason we're asking for that is this is an isolated case. I don't know exactly how these other areas along Matlock and 8th or Lot are impacted by heavy rain. So by doing so, by asking for that area to be properly have storm drains put in to handle something like this that we just had, that would be helping everybody and not just us. So that's why we are requesting that to be put into the city budget. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later toward the end. This is another project that I'm interested in. This is a comparison between the Euclid ditch and the North Houston North Raft drainage channel, which was just recently installed because of the grant money that the city received, and they're finishing up on that project. And you'll see that this was taken immediately after the rain stopped. And that is as high as the water I saw got. And that's amazing. That is built to a 100-year storm, to 100-year storm capacity. And I was just amazed. I drove down Rife and Stapp and McCampbell. There was no water. So I want to congratulate the city for implementing that project and getting that done, because I think it's going to help tremendously. As far as the Euclid ditch, it's well known that it just can't handle a lot of water for whatever reason. Typically 2 to 3 inches will actually fill that ditch up. And we get a lot of those. I've asked several times, or I've asked at another time to set aside funds on an annual basis to help help with these drainage improvements. And the city has responded and done some things to really help, especially the grant that we got to improve, to fix the pump station there. But it's still having problems. There have been 6 rain events since 2021, and I was recording how much rain we got and whether or not the ditch overflowed, whether it got into the yard, whatever. And average of 6 rain events since 2021 is an average of 3.9 inches. 3.9 inches is just below a 25-year flood level. 4.5 over a 2-hour period is enough to classify it as a 25-year storm. And it was more than street flooding. I'm sure that this isn't the only area that sees that kind of flooding. And so I'm asking for the city to provide some funds to improve the drainage system for the pump stations and the associated drainage system associated with it. Now, I know from news reports I just read here this last week that it was stated in the news that the cost of doing all the upgrades was something like $50 million 10 years. So I know the city is thinking about how to improve and how much it's going to cost and how we're going to get the money for it. And so I'm just asking that the city help to take steps in order to move these ideas that we have, move them forward to improve our overall drainage system. And I know you're doing it with the streets, but we also need to do it for the pump stations as well, because that is the major way to remove water from the city. And those are very important. One of the things I suggest is initial funding for the first phase of the upgrade to the flood protection system. I don't have a lot of information as to what's been thought about, what is planned to be done or anything, but this is what I'm asking, is to move this forward and ensure that that the entire system is capable of handling a major storm. That would help in the case of a hurricane as well. What this funding could cover, it could be brainstorming sessions in order to come up with ideas, planning it, engineering, funding grants. Need to have money set aside for the grants because they're all not 100% grants. There's also a city, there's a city cost share on it. And so that needs to be taken into consideration. Any repairs or needs to be done should be considered. And I've already, asked for an increased capital or maintenance budget for the localized flooding. Well, this would come into play with the overall system as well. So if they had enough funds that they could do some of the localized flooding, that will take some of the pressure off of the major major water removal system that we have. So that's really all I have, but I want the city council to consider adding some things to the budget and the capital improvement plan. I know that the pumps were in the capital improvement plan, but I think that was just for the repair of those pumps. And I'm asking to also include the upgrade of the system within the capital improvement plan as well. And I know funding is very important. It's difficult, or can be, but I'm hoping we can take some concrete steps forward to get it moving. And I know it's going to take time. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any comments?
My name is Jerry Wellman. I live at 1869 South Saunders, and I've been coming to City Council for probably pretty close to 20 years. When Charles Bimbo, Karen Gale, Dorothy Roberts, Tommy Knight were all on the board at some point in time, and I've always talked about the important things the city does is provide police and fire, drainage, a paved road, and city services, sewer and water to every residence in town. And we've got some growing pains to do all of that. So please look at that as we go along. And specifically, about 5 months ago, we were here with a subdivision in my neighborhood, and there were a couple things that were going to be looked at. One of them was drainage, and the other one was we were going to epoxy or something the manholes. And I just wondered how many of those we have done, or have we done any? And so I think we still have the manhole sewer system in my neighborhood that needs work, and we got to get the drainage in my neighborhood, just like every other neighborhood, just a few days ago, it flooded, you couldn't tell where the street was. So please try to put that in the budget, and I think now is the time to be looking at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Since this is a public hearing, Mayor and Council, the manhole lining is underway right now. That program is an important program, and David and his crew are working on it right now. It's being done incrementally as we move forward. So that is underway, and the gentleman is absolutely correct. It is a critical part of it, but it is underway.
I'm sorry, have we done any?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we already started that.
Yes, the program started.
It's already started. They even had a class to where they were teaching the public works employees how to do the work.
And we appreciate that. Hey, I'm Richard Myers. I live across the street from Jerry at 1868 South Saunders. Y'all have seen me here a whole bunch of times with the neighborhood that was going in. I'm one of the very few that was for the neighborhood going in because rooftops bring tax base brings improvements. And depending on which one of those things you looked at, with the plans that the developer brought, there was 20 to 50 homes on that 14 acres. That would be a lot of tax base money. It got shot down. Those things have been subdivided now. They're up for sale. So that project's dead. Tax base that won't come to the city anymore. What I'm asking for is the same thing that got it shot down. I'm going to piggyback on the whole drainage thing. Y'all know it's a deal. You don't need me to stand here and explain it to you and show you the pictures of the flooding at my house. It killed a 20 to 50 home development. That's tax money that's never going to come back right now. If they sell those lots off in the 4 lots that they are, you might get 4 homes out instead of 20 to 50. So I request that we add some money to the budget, not add money because we only have so much money, reallocate some money to, at a very bare minimum, do a engineering study to where we know what the problem is and what the solution is, because we have to start somewhere. We all get in here, we all get mad, we all are pitchforks and torches and everybody's uptight, but nobody knows what the solution is because we've never done it. We've been in here before. There was, and I don't remember which one of the council members said, hey, I'm not going to vote for that. I believe it was Joe that said, we're not going to do that until, maybe it was Jason. Anyhow, somebody said it, that we're not going to do it until we do a study. I'm asking for money for a study at a very bare minimum. There's already money in the budget. They're going to pave Beasley this year, from what I understand from all those meetings. And it would be nice, instead of digging up our freshly paved road, to put the underground infrastructure in for the engineering that I'm asking for. There's only I think it's an 18-inch culvert that runs across Beasley right now. That's the only drainage from my side of the street to the other side of the street. It's obviously not enough. I'm not a hydrologist, I'm not a civil engineer. I don't know what it needs, but it needs more. If we do it at the same time that they pave the road, it costs hundreds more. If we do it after they pave the road, it costs tens of thousands more. Please spend our money judiciously. Do the upfront engineering. There's other places in town that I know that need drainage too. I can't speak to those because I live out of town. I just own a house here, and I'm crowned at ground zero over there in that area. So I just asked to reallocate some money to, at a bare minimum, studying this stuff. And before you start paving streets, put the infrastructure in that's needed, because it saves us tons of money. That's it. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, Council, congratulations to those winners and the new Mr. Dominguez.
Thank you.
I'm here to ask for money. This is the part where I can do that, right? Actually, I'm not for me. It's for the Aransas Pass Animal Control Department. The reason is because since November of last year, I've been running, I'll say, a private TNR program, which is trap, neuter, and return of cats that are stray and or feral, that have no owners that claim them, but feed them all the time. In that 6 months, I've done almost 70 cats. So from November until my eye-opening in January 17th, when I discovered the egregious practice by animal control, which picked up trapped cats that homeowners, property owners had trapped themselves. I picked them up, and within 30 minutes, it was trap serviced, complete. I've gotten the records, the internal records. I've seen it all for the last few months. Asked about that, I finally got an answer. But all of that egregious activity has stopped. Because in April, and I appreciate the work with A.C. Jones and Animal Control and Captain Chief Blanchard, I met with them, I met with the mayor and city manager, and we talked about how to stop a practice where animals, cats, are picked up and then deposited unaltered in also the city limits, which I believe the landfill, the transfer station, is in the city limits. Is that correct? If the cats are unaltered, then they are simply moved from maybe the DeBerry area to the Myrtle area, and they continue to reproduce. Hundreds of litters throughout the year, over the years. Okay. In April, after meeting with the different department heads and the mayor, I offered to fund, to cover the cost of the spay-neuter of cats that were trapped or by individuals and then picked up through ACO calls on the every day, or not every day, but as many as calls came in, which turns out to be about 10 a month. So in April, May, we have done 10, which I have paid for in April, and about 10 in May. I'm also looking at March, which is approximately 8 to 10. February was a little slower. And it has worked. Every time they have worked diligently to get this practice, communication with the vet, and we have to transport. It's been great. Now, the problem is, possibly a problem, is I offered to pay for those spay-neuters through June, excuse me. So at the end of June, my money, as I stated, would go away. It's costing about $600 a month for the 10 cats, male and female, to be treated or altered at Cross Point Vet Clinic, which they have used for a long time. I'm asking for a little bit of money, about $600 a month, and there's some big issues that everyone is concerned about. But Myrtle Street doesn't have to bear that responsibility. We're removing cats and just into a different area. They're taxpayers. There's homeowners. I've driven the area. I've driven the transfer station. There are cats everywhere that are reproducing. Let's get the cats that are animal control picks up and get them neutered or spayed and then return them into close to the area where they were picked up. That's their home. We've been working with homeowners in the area to understand the process of trap-neuter return to lower the population of unwanted cats, reproducing cats. I'm hoping that once this program has been established, and we're going to do it through June, that you'll have the numbers confident enough to give some money, to put some money in the budget so that we can continue it. think of the Myrtle Street area, think of the DeBerry Street area, think of all those people that would benefit just from not having so many stray cats on the street. It's not much, but I appreciate you considering it. They've done a wonderful job. They are not just dropping them off anywhere within 30 minutes of picking up the trap. The department has worked closely with me and others. It's working well. Let's keep it going. That's all I have to say. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Well, I declare this public hearing closed, and now we're gonna go to case number PZ 2305-07 to open up public hearing on a request submitted by La Fonda Mexican Foods LLC for a conditional use permit for 9 months to place 2 multi-temperature refrigerator trailers on property located at 939 West Wheeler to use as freezer storage on their food products prior to shipping to customers. The property is currently zoned GB General Business District.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this application is before you today because the applicant had placed this reference on a property at 939 West Wheeler, which is not a permitted use. They are outside refrigerators for his currently catering business at the location. And because of that, we invited him in to the city. We had a meeting with him. He indicated that he's planning to establish about 135,000 square feet plant to do his fajitas within the city. And so we recommended that since that is not allowed for such reference to be on that particular lot, fronting Wheeler Avenue, he should apply for a conditional use permit. He did, and last week, Monday, it went to the Planning and Zoning Commission. It was discussed, and they acted upon it, and they voted to give him only 3 months to remove them. And so it's a recommendation to the City Council. That is why it is before you today for consideration and action. The applicant is here, and if you have any other questions, he will be ready to answer them. There are opposition neighbors to this application, and I'm sure they will also want to talk about it. Thank you.
Well, I have a question. I know they indicated that they are looking for property to build. Do they have one already purchased, or are they just starting the process?
Yeah, they are starting to process. In actual fact, we have located a site being the transfer station portion, which was going to be about 20 acres for us to visit the site, if it would be possible and feasible for his project. We've not looked into it critically, but that is the projection.
The city property out there?
Yeah.
That'd have to go to bid if we sold that. We couldn't just directly sell it to someone.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we've not gone into it any further than that, just to visit the site.
Is that the only site that they've looked at?
We've not even looked at it, but that's
No,
what,
but any other area that they've looked at, or is
No.
that the only one that they're concentrated on?
if you are asking for future development of their plant or moving these 2 rivers to
Okay.
a site, which
No,
one?
What I'm asking is, you've stated that they're looking for property to build a building, correct?
Correct.
To house this business that they have. My question was, is the land by the property that they're looking at, the one by the transfer station, is that the only property that they're considering, or do they have 2 or 3 other properties?
That is the only they have considered us at this point. Any other questions?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
So the conditional use permit for 3 months, what happens after 3 months? I
In
mean,
actual fact, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended 3 months without renewal. What it means is that after the 3 months, he shall not have the option to come for an extension.
Okay. Yeah, because I know it takes a long time for a building to be erected, and of course with everything else involved in that. So I was just kind of curious what the long-term plan was.
Yeah, so what it means is that the P&Z digressed on what you just mentioned about, and they concluded that irrespective of the length of time he's going to project to put his building or put up that bigger facility, it should not relate to the reference being placed on Wheeler. Plus or minus, he should remove them within 3 months.
What I was going to mention was, have y'all sought out any locations to temporarily put those refrigerated trailers while,
Other than, yeah.
you know, after the 3 months or whatever we decide on? If they can't stay there, then there should be other lots in town that he could, you know, a single lot he could buy for $20,000 somewhere in the industrial use area, or lease from somebody for temporary time for those. Has any of that been considered?
It came up at the P&Z meeting. Applicant knows about that option. It's up to him to look around elsewhere where that will be permitted, and so he has to make that decision.
Correct.
Yeah, but it'll take more than 3 months for them to do something with it.
Well, I understand.
They're asking for 9 months, but.
I thought P&Z P&Z recommended 3 months, right?
Correct.
But they're asking for 7?
9.
Oh, I see 7.
The
Okay.
7 is the
Okay.
planning department's recommendation. They did not go with that. They voted 3 months without renewal.
I think within 3 months, it would probably be feasible to find an alternate location for those within 3 months.
Any comments from the audience?
3 months, 6 months.
Comments from the audience?
Any comments from the audience?
Yep. Any comments from the, sure, come on up.
Hi, my name is Susan Otterpole, and I help take care of a lady that's 80 years old, and she lives directly in back of where those trailers are. She has not been able to sleep in her own house, her own bedroom, since these trailers started. This company took months and months to occupy their premises, and so I don't know why the refrigeration needs were not addressed before they ever occupied the building. Anyway, something needs to be done because, you know, an 80-year-old person deserves a little bit of respect, and not to mention consideration. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Mercy Turner, and I'm that 80-year-old.
Tattoo dog.
Okay, my name is Mercy Turner, and I'm that 80-year-old lady. And I am so sick of that noise. I can't even sleep in my bedroom. I have to sleep in the living room on a recliner. And I really would appreciate it if they could move them or do something with them. Yeah, I hope I'm not out of line, but I've been on that block there for 44 years. I've been in Aransas Pass for 80 years, and I've been on that block for 44 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hector Rios, 1044 South Commercial. I hate to see any businesses have to leave or take off here from Aransas Pass. They actually employ people. They're bringing in some commerce, 8.25. You know, I'm big on 8.25. I'm sure your employees probably go for lunch and things like that, so they're spending money here and they're bringing in money here. Hopefully that maybe we can see some kind of compromise, maybe turn the trailers the opposite, where the motors are running the opposite direction. Is there any way that they can just be flipped over so all the noise is shooting towards commercial?
I would like to invite all of the city council and the mayor out there so they can go out there and hear for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
One of the trailers will be probably gone this week. A guy's buying one of them. The one that's there that's running.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The one that's there that's running right now, I'd invite all of y'all to come out there, stand out there, and listen. Now, in order to test for a test noise, they need to go inside the person's house and test the level of the noise. But if you go in there, and if you even go by Mark's building on the other side, you're not going to hear that reefer. It shuts off and on. It don't run continuously like everybody thinks it does. And like I say, I invite anybody out here to go out there and stand right there, get 30, 40 feet from there, or even in my driveway out there, and see if you can hear that reefer. You can't. Just can't do it. They were saying that I had a 5-year lease. I don't have it. My lease is 9 months and I'm done. I'm negotiating a contract right here with 7-Eleven on a few of the products right now. And if it gets too big, I'll have to move out of that building. But for right now, it's zone commercial. The people behind the fence there, my landlord built a fence up there to hide the noise. So if you get into there, I'd welcome you to get in their backyard and see if you can hear my reefers. Much less inside the house. You're not going to hear it. I'd invite every one of y'all to come out there and listen to those reefers. Now, I'm looking just for a temporary conditional permit to get my feet up off the ground with 7-Eleven. And if I have to outgrow this place, then I'll have to move. But I believe within that, my lease is up in 9 months over there. I'm looking with over there. We were going to walk the property last week, but the rain, it was so bad, I wasn't going to get out there in all that rain and stuff. I'm very interested. We're going to need a big place. We're bringing in like a minimum of 225 employees to supply the grocery chains and stuff around here. That's why we need a bigger place. This is just a temporary deal. That's all it is. You know, and we came to a small town to grow with a small town. That's why we came in here. The tax base will be phenomenal for Aransas. There's no doubt about that. Not only that, but for the community, for everything else, bringing in employees. So I understand. They say it's an eyesore. Drive down Wheeler, there's a bunch of properties, dilapidated buildings down there that are really an eyesore. This, I keep it clean. Like I said, the one trailer closest to the building, it'll probably be gone this week. The other one is there. In fact, I only have that one running. I shut the other one down to kind of make peace with everybody, you know? But people saying they must have a heck of a lot better hearing than I do. Well, my hearing's bad anyway. I got to take that back. But, like I say, I'm just looking for a 9-month, just a temporary deal until I can get situated in there. If it grows where I have to get out of this building, I'll have to negotiate with my landlord to get out of it. But this is just a stepping stone. That's all it is. I'm looking at the 40 acres because we're going to need a big place for trucks to come in and out of. Trucks can't come in and out of there. You'll probably get the back of my building. You'll hear the road noise more than you hear that reefer. And that reefer's facing that way. So, if anybody don't believe me, all they have to do is come over there and listen. It's not like everybody says it is, real loud and stuff. It's not. And it don't run continuously. It reaches a temperature and it shuts down.
I just have a question.
I can't hear you, ma'am. I lost one of my hearing aids, ma'am. Step up.
Yeah, I just have one question.
Yes.
Have you, do you have this business somewhere else? Have you already
Not yet.
done this
No.
on a big scale?
I used to broker into Winn-Dixie and stuff.
Okay.
I used to broker Mexican food products into Winn-Dixie on the East Coast in Florida.
So you've done this type of operation before?
Yes, ma'am. But what happens here, can I explain?
Yes.
What happens here, these trailers are temporary. What happens, I load them up and it goes to a cold storage in Corpus Christi is where it goes, you see. But because of the issues with both trailers there, I said, I'll do away with one and try to keep peace with everybody. So that's what I'm doing, you see. But here, the 18th, can I show you this? It only has one copy. There's 2 sheets, ma'am. This is the first one right there. That's with 7-Eleven. They have all the Valeros and Laredo tacos and stuff. That's who these people are. The product we have, we're only coming out with a couple right now because I can't produce all the full line here. But y'all welcome to look at that.
Sir, what's the power source on those refrigerations?
Pardon me?
The power source, what is that? Is it plugged in or is it self-generated?
It runs itself.
Okay.
The front of it is it's a refrigerator. It's Thermo King refrigerated trailer.
Okay.
And that-
But,
Yeah,
oh, it is
diesel.
diesel? That-
Yep.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
What's that?
If it's, okay, runs off of diesel?
Sure.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well,
Like your generator in your house runs off of gas.
I agree with the statement some of the citizens made, and it's not
Sir?
about, I agree with the statement some of these citizens said, and it has nothing to do with the noise. It has to do with the eyesore. Because like you said, across the street, that's a big deal with everybody sitting up here, and you piling up box trailers behind a new business next to another one. And if you're gonna be this successful with this operation, I don't see why you couldn't move those things back and forth whenever you load them and get them off there like every other company does.
What's that now?
How come you couldn't move those trailers to another location day to day like every other company
Because
does
it's
instead of leaving?
product that has to be transferred.
Well, it saves you
refrigerated.
money. That's all. It's saving you money. It's saving you money. That's the whole point of keeping them there.
Well, not only that, the product comes out of the plant and goes straight into the trailer right there instead of having to drive 4 or 5 miles where it's not refrigerated.
Well, it stays refrigerated because the reefer unit can run. You can park that reefer on the beach and it'll still stay cold.
Well, okay, I understand. But like I say, with this here, I'm on commercial property.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that bought houses behind that commercial property knows that's commercial property. Harbor Freight has a trailer out there. They have a trailer out there. And,
I haven't seen a
you
trailer
know,
out there.
It just,
Is it
just
refrigerated?
like the people
What are
that
they
live behind
refrigerating?
me on that street, they all cut right through my driveway. They almost hit one of my employees. They won't stop at the stop sign. They'll cut across through there to come this, go east, you know. But I'm not trying to argue with anybody. I just want to give me a little time to get what I have to get done where I can get out of there. I'm in the middle of negotiations right now. She read that. You see. And believe it or not, it'd be a boost to this economy here in Aransas.
I agree. I agree that your business would be a boost to this economy, to this town, when it gets going. But I personally think that you need a better plan right now for your refrigerated items.
That's what I'm doing. That's exactly why I'm here. For right now, I just need a permit. According to Aransas Pass, it says right here that any property with GP on it indicates use of may be approved or conditional use of a permit. That's where I'm at.
Correct.
So that's all I'm asking for, what Aransas Pass says that I can do. Aransas Pass is doing it. I'm not doing it. They said I can do that. I just need something conditionally for right now. I want commercial properties. It's a business.
Correct.
And the eyesores, like I say, I'm not going to mention any names, but you all know who those people are to have all those buildings. Yes. Go on lot and commercial. Tell me that's not an eyesore.
We're trying to get rid of them.
Oh, yeah. And there's other businesses right where I'm at. All eyesores up there, but nobody says nothing about that.
Well, there are, but adding to the eyesores isn't fixing that problem.
You're on the list.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I say, I'm not here to argue or to pick a fight with anybody. I just want to come to a happy medium with everybody. Let me get this up and out. Like I say, with this contract, I'll probably end up having to move out of that building. It's too small for what I have to suffice here. You see, before I got in there, I wasn't going to do all that much right now. There's one right there. That's right across the street from me. And by the way, that seafood place going up next to me, if you go behind his accounting building, not in front of it, behind it, you can see Mark's place from where the trailers are at. He said you can't, but you can. I got a picture of it up there somewhere. Look at that building. Lovely building right there. Gorgeous. Welcomes everybody into this town, doesn't it? Look at that. Gorgeous. So, if I'm an eyesore, what is this?
Those are already there. My point is these box trailers are adding to the problem.
It's what?
These box trailers are adding to problems like this. You can't fix problems when you pile more stuff up. Well,
we're here to approve a conditional use permit. So that's what we're here for, is to approve or disapprove a conditional use permit.
Yeah. Well, here,
so if there's
Carol?
we'll let Carol speak.
Yeah, I'm Carol.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several. Carol Salinas, I'm speaking as a citizen, as a member of P&Z also. Noise was totally irrelevant during the meeting. It came up. It was discussed quite a bit, but that was not the issue. The issue is that this is not zoned for the reefers, the trailers. It was not zoned to begin with. They were just taken, parked there without prior approval, no permits, nothing else. That's what was we got sidetracked at P&Z about noise, but the issue was not the noise. It was just the fact this is not an approved use of that property. I know there was something else I wanted to say, and I can't think of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
And this bill, all right, so he's got actually no employees there. We were talking about by the time he gets another property somewhere and builds, we're talking, I think we were discussing several years before this would actually bring business into the city. This is just a temporary thing. He's not got employees that are being employed at this time, maybe one or two, but not a considerable number. Thank you.
That's why I suggested finding an alternative location for those trailers now so that he can continue operating.
I'm sorry, the 3 months was given just simply to give him time to load up and move out. No one on the commission agreed that they should be there to begin with, but the discussion was how long should he be given to move. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as far as the eyesores are concerned, I definitely can see where he's coming from about, we do have a lot of eyesores. We have a couple of businesses that are using semis at this time presently. But I'd like to see if we can just compromise, maybe turn those things around and see if that'll cut down on some of that noise, have it shoot out. You do have the southeast wind that's gonna come back from that corner, so if you turn them around, the wind itself will push some of that sound, and then see if that can at least, I want the young lady to get some sleep, big time. I want the young lady to get some sleep beyond, anything else. Right now, we have a health concern, and I really hope that we can address that by just a little bit of compromise, seeing maybe if he can just turn them around, whatever extended time that y'all give them, but I would maybe put that maybe as a condition if y'all do give him, extend this. Let's see about turning them things around and let's get that noise shooting out, because I live on a commercial street. I know, I'm right there by that light, and 6:45 in the morning, when everybody's trying to get to the plant, that yellow light, there ain't no yellow light there. It's just green, that's it. It's green and stop, and I hear everybody slamming on that new loud exhaust every single morning, so I know how the young lady feels, but maybe a little compromise like that. Let's see if we can turn him around and just get him going. For whatever few employees he has employees that are being employed here in Aransas Pass. I thank you so much for my time. For y'all's time. My kids are getting a little crazy here. God bless you. Love y'all. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Thank you for your service. Congratulations, Carrie.
Thank you, Hector.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
I don't know which one to address first. Okay, you want to turn a reef around and put it towards the front of my building. I'm Mark Linsky with Shrimp It Up. I'm building the building next door. I'm putting $1 million building up there to better this city. Now, you turn that thing around, I can hear it inside my kitchen. I can hear it on my patio. I can hear it in back when I go up back. So it is a noise nuisance, but that's not what we're here about, apparently. We're here about the permits. Okay, I'm a builder in town on about 15 properties, 2 businesses, 4 or 5 houses. I get permits for everything before I start, or I'm not supposed to start, or I get fined, or I'm shut down. What's the deal here? This gentleman says he just went ahead and did it. Is that fair to everybody else in town? I don't think so. As far as the ladies that own the house behind them, they didn't buy the property before you did. You moved in there after they owned it. They have rights too. You don't own the property. So how much taxes do you pay on our rent property?
Okay, sir.
So you don't pay taxes. I pay taxes. I pay a lot of taxes in town. And I just don't think it's fair that somebody comes in and avoids the permit process legally, whether it's right or wrong. And the noise is another problem. It is a bad problem. And I just don't think that it's fair to everybody that was there before. And he's only renting. I'm buying. I own the property. I got a lifetime investment there. And it is a nuisance. And it does block the sight of my restaurant coming from Wheeler. No matter what was said about it, you can see it from one point or another. That's not the issue. I've been working on this project for 2 years. And I went through the right process, the permitting process, the approval process from everybody here. And I just don't think it's fair. And it's not fair to the people around there either. Thank you.
Well, I find it interesting. I thought all that was one thing. So, okay. It's two totally separate businesses.
Yes.
Okay, well, that makes that better sense. Okay.
Mark owns the blue building that's going in on the other side of the
I
alley.
see that. I thought
Yeah.
that was all a
That's
part
it.
of the whole thing here.
I think
Okay.
he was telling me he's up to like $1.2 million on his investment there.
Okay.
Yeah, share basically his same complaints. Obviously, I'm Ross McElwee. I own and operate the business at 1025 West Wheeler, which is across the street on 9th Street. Brenda McElwee, CPA. I'm sure everybody knows that. We work real hard to keep our place nice. I don't expect everybody to work and keep it as nice as mine, but as the gentleman told you, we have quite a few eyesores up and down Wheeler right now, which is our corridor from San Antonio through Aransas Pass. And I would sit here and say for the first time in quite a few, 20 years, it looks like we might actually get some of those other eyesores taken out. My whole complaint here right now is that why are we going to build another one before we even get the other 5 out of the way? The lot that we're talking about is zone general business. It's zone general business because it backs up to housing. That's why it's not industrial. What this man is doing is basically industrial work. These reefer trucks run on diesel-powered air conditioning systems. They're opening the doors, putting stuff in. They're opening the doors, taking stuff out. These guys are running a lot. I'm only half deaf. I hear them loudly at my back door. Dave came to the planning and zoning meeting, which actually is next door to our office across the street from Mercy. He came to planning and zoning complaining. I understand there's not a noise ordinance, but because it's zone general business, that's what keeps the noise down and allows people like Mercy and Dave to live in this town. It was told to us at planning and zoning that the gentleman has a 2-year lease. Tonight, he's telling you it's a 9-month lease. I'm sitting here going, have we seen a financial statement, a financial ability to build this plant? Have we had any kind of a business plan showing us that, oh, this is really going to happen? Because it's pretty easy to stand up here and tell you, hey, I'm going to hire 200 employees tomorrow too, guys. If y'all don't do what I want to do, I'm going to take my 200 employees and leave. I'm pretty sure most of y'all would laugh at me tonight when we get outside. You go, what are you doing, Ross? And it's like, I'm just making a point here that all I've seen and heard is talk. I don't know why the city manager's investigating selling half of our transfer station to this man. I don't know what the other 20-acre part of that is. But right off the bat, that tells you this is going to be a really, really long-term deal because we don't even have a facility, a piece of property, much less the facility planned for it. I'm going to sit here and tell you, man, I'm thinking you're talking about years because I tell you right off the bat, if 20 acres of the landfill's for sale, the transfer station's for sale, I'd really like the opportunity to bid on it. I'd like to at least see it be listed. If we're just going to sell it in the dark at night, I'm going to be kind of edgy about, hey, did we get the top dollar for it? Our city ordinances have been there. They're there for the protection of the city of Aransas Pass citizens. We've now got another person come in trying to make a buck and trying to abuse the citizens of Aransas Pass. That's my statement. That's what I'm going to stand by. I feel like you guys need to back us, the citizens, up in that this is a problem. The way he's got him pulled in there now, they got him stuck. I have no idea. I can't even imagine how they're going to back this trailer out if it's ever actually filled up with product. Because they buried the 18-wheeler, getting it in there, trying to get it out because there is no turnaround there. There's no way in and out of there except back that trailer out of there, and it's sitting on sand. They cut down the trees. They got them piled up over there on the vacant lot behind their building. I guess they don't know that the city doesn't pick up commercial brush. That's been sitting there for 2 months. I'm just sitting there going, there's a lot of things going on here that if you don't have a dog in the fight, if you're not a citizen in the Aransas Pass, I'm thinking, I'm not going to waste any time reading your code and your ordinances. I'm going to charge on. But that's your job, is to stop this. And that's what I'd ask y'all to do. A 9-month permit, where are we going to be in 9 months? Not going to have a building built. We're still going to be sitting here. We're going to come back in here. We're going to ask you for another permit give me another 9 months, and it's gonna be another 9 months. And it's like, yeah, probably in 3 years, we might have something. But in 3 years, he might not have a contract. I don't know in 3 years this deal's gonna be successful. I mean, I haven't seen a contract to Cisco or anybody else saying, yeah, I've got an order for 40 million seafood tacos. So I'm just sitting there saying, hey, we're doing a little test deal, and we're not doing anything by the code of Aransas Pass. And as a guy who's trying to make Aransas Pass better, I'm outside working every day up there at Brenda's office. I'm out there trimming a tree or something, and it's like, yeah, the noise is painful, but the sheer sight of the ugliness is what bothers me. Because like I say, I finally see Robert Branch's stuff across the street, and it's like, yeah, we might actually get better. And that's the whole point, is we're going to make Aransas Pass better every day. I'm out there every day doing it, and I need help from y'all right now to show us that the city of Aransas Pass wants to do that. So, thank you.
Let me re-clarify. On my 2-year lease, I have 9 months left. I'm not changing my leases like he was just saying. I have a 2-year lease. I've been there. I have 9 months left. Who wants to pick up the bill on that if they want me to move tomorrow?
Nobody has to pick up the bill for your poor planning. If you had a business plan to start with, you knew this was coming. If you've already been there 15 months, it's like I'm just sitting here. All I keep hearing is talk and threats. Planning and zoning. I'll take my 200 employees somewhere else. I was just trying to help the city of Aransas Pass. Well, if you believe in that one, guys, we got issues there. I mean, who's going to bail him out? It's like, is that the city's job? Because if somebody wants to bail somebody out, we need to go bail Robert Branch out with all his buildings that are dilapidated, right? We need to go down there to Buck's Tire Shop and clean him up a little bit too. That's not our job.
Last thing, and I'm done. Last thing, I'm done. I'm in code. They told me I was in code. They've been there for a while. So if now all of a sudden y'all want to change that I'm not in code, we have a problem.
He's not in code, right? No, he's not in code. You're not in code.
Mark Linsky again. Let's talk about
You're
code.
not in code.
In my restaurant, I requested to put outside coolers in. They said it's not allowed in the ordinance. So I was denied the right to put outside coolers there. So, but that is the code. I checked on it before I built my building. You didn't.
How do you know that? You weren't there.
But, sir, that's why we're here, is to approve or disapprove of a conditional use permit for that. So they're not in code. You're asking for us to make it code.
We want to comment on the, well, I'll let Jose do it, on the comment about the code.
So he never contacted the planning department when he moved those roofers over there. Like Mr. Linsky said, when he started his project, he asked whether he can put refrigerators outside, and we made it clear that it was not a permitted use. So what he has done is not a permitted use. He can only come to the city as a conditional use permit, which is before you. And that is when we met with him and let him know that it's not a permitted use, so he cannot put the reference there as of right. The only option for him to come before the P&Z and council for a consideration. So it's up to you to make that consideration. Thank you.
Any other questions, anybody? Okay, I declare this public hearing closed. Now we go to consider and act an ordinance granting a conditional use permit for 9 months to La Fonda Mexican Food LLC beginning May 15, 2023 and expire on February 15, 2024 to allow 2 reefer trailers, multi-temperature refrigerator trailers currently placed at 939 West Wheeler as temporary storage for the food products prior to shipping to customers.
I move to deny this conditional use permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're gonna go to city manager. It's considered an action approving a professional service agreement with Ardura Group LLC for correction action at the former Coastline Resources Facility Site 441 Allen Boulevard, Aransas Pass, Texas, for an amount not to exceed $30,000.
Let me give you some background on this first, and very brief, and I've asked the Ardura environmental engineers who are here to comment on some history related to this. This has been going on a while, not at our choice, but we're following TCEQ's orders. We've had several environmental areas at Com Brown Harbor that are resolved. They are addressed. There's one left that TCEQ is saying we need more work on. So that's a thumbnail sketch I've asked. So we have an agreement to address that last area that continues to linger because of TCEQ. I've asked Ardura to be here. Amy Hesseltine is here, and she can give you some history on this particular issue. That's a fair amount of money, so I want her to explain why that's necessary. It's the last leg of what we've been working on forever. Amy.
Good evening, I'm Amy Hesseltine. This is Sarah Sparks. So, yeah, he was right. There are 3 sites identified. 2 of them we've closed out. The third one, the Coastline Resources, there's been several rounds of groundwater monitoring wells, soil borings that we've put in place and other consultants have put in place. And the goal is to delineate the extent of contamination at this site. It's due to past industrial uses. And so this site has undergone those rounds of assessment, and most recently we've been doing groundwater monitoring out there, quarterly groundwater monitoring. We did that in 2022, and we just submitted a report in January of this year to the TCEQ. And so they reviewed that report, and then they've come back with, we talk about recommendations. So the goal of the groundwater monitoring is to show that that plume of contamination is stable and that it is delineated, meaning that the levels of contamination, they're not increasing, and that we've horizontally and vertically delineated where that contamination is. And so the result of our last year's groundwater monitoring is showing that that's stable. The plume is not stable. We've had some fluctuations in the contamination levels, and so what's being recommended is another round of groundwater monitoring so we can see where those levels are, make sure that they, that they are decreasing. And also the TCEQ, they recommend that we put more groundwater monitoring wells in, and the reason for that is that so some of the wells we can't find, or they've been destroyed. There's the road construction out there and some of the things that have gone on. We can't find those. Also, you want to put down gradient wells to show that you have like this contamination and these areas around it are clean. So it's kind of to help delineate that horizontally. And so that's what our proposal for today is, to do the next round of groundwater monitoring. Right now we're going to do 6 months and see what the results are. Hopefully we have good results and we can close it out and not have to continue. And it's also to install these additional monitoring wells that were requested by the TCEQ.
And you'll recall GLO has said that all of these areas have to be resolved and before they'll release the liens, and that's a whole different issue I want to get into. But this is an important part of that, and development there is necessary. Before development occurs, these issues have to be addressed. And that'll, as I said, that opens up some other issues, but the direction that they're proposing to go is a direction we have to go to get all of these issues resolved. They've addressed all the others, they're gone, we have letters of support, and this is the last one that we have to address. And I think tell me if I'm wrong, I think we're still under budget from the original cost estimate even with this $30,000. If not, we're very close to it, but I think we're under budget, so.
I have a question. I know that a lot of, the talk on the street is that we're not doing anything to develop Com Brown Harbor. I just want people to understand we cannot do anything with Com Brown Harbor until all of these sites are totally clean. And do you have an estimate how long we've been looking at this particular site?
Well, I don't know about this particular site, but all the sites, the three or four?
Three.
All three sites we've been looking at, it's going on 3 years now. It's two years at least.
But this is just under this current. How long have we been? That's what I'm asking, because you're saying.
I can tell you, we started working with the city in 2014. The contamination, JBS Shrimp Company, it was contaminated back in 2005, and so a long time ago, some consultants were brought on site. I mean,
Yes.
you know, that's kind of the history of.
You know, I just want the, for the residents to hear that it's not, we're not just sitting on this.
Right.
I mean, it's been out there since 2005.
Right, and people, you've been actively working on it. That site had a big remediation system, and so you've actively been working on it for a long time.
I just want the residents to understand, it's not something that the city, this current administration has been sitting on for not wanting to develop. It's been going on since way back then, and it's, TCEQ is just demanding it to be cleaned up completely.
Yeah.
It's not, we're just not just sitting on it and
Right.
not doing anything about it.
And
Just
it
want the
is
residents to know that.
And it is a process, groundwater monitoring, it's a year process just to get results, so you don't always get the results you want.
I know,
so.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
Thank you.
All right, I make a motion to approve an agreement with Ardura Group LLC for corrective action at the former Coastline Resources Facility at 441 Allen Boulevard, not in an amount not to exceed $30,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now, we're gonna go to Development Services, which is consider an action awarding a request for proposals to American Rescue Plan ARP Package 3 for J.J. Fox Construction Incorporated in the amount of $354,075.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This project is a sewer project that goes from, it's right between Lamont and Whitney. It goes from Maddox to Myrtle, but it's a little deceiving because it doesn't actually go from Maddox to Myrtle. It's actually a section in between. So as in the past, when studies were being made, we were not able to connect the two streets because of the lay of the land. So as everything here is gravity fed, the ground was actually dropping, the elevation of the ground. So basically the ground and the pipe were basically meeting up. So the furthest we can go was a little bit past Lenore on that. So it's going to go where a little bit south of Pryor, a little bit past the Lenore Alley. So this is what this is for. It is just a base bid. It's $354,075, and it'll be good to J.J. Fox. This project just consists of 1,211 linear feet of 12-inch sewer lines. We'll put 5 manholes, and we'll make 32 connections that residents can tie into.
How many other contractors bid on this job?
There was, man, I don't want to lie. I don't have it in front of me. I can probably pull it up on my phone, but it's probably like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good turnout.
Okay. Any questions? I make a motion to award the request for proposals for the American Rescue Plan Package 3 for J.J. Fox Construction in the amount of $354,075.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we're gonna go to Public Safety, which is considered an on approving a memorandum of understanding between the city and J.J. Fox for Construction Incorporated for installation and removal of sea gates beginning June 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2024.
Mayor and Council, this is a MOU with J.J. Fox. We expire at the end of this month, and this is for them, if needed, to put the sea gates in with their crane and take the sea gates back out. This also includes the potential for one training exercise with J.J. Fox to make sure we don't have any kind of problems or anything. Exact replica of what the MOU was last year, just looking to get it renewed for the next 12 months.
I make a motion to approve a MOU between the city and J.J. Fox Construction for the installation and removal of sea gates beginning June 1st through May 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And now we're gonna go to City Council or staff announcements.
workshop meeting for a week from tonight, May 22nd. And at this point, the agenda items are a follow-up on residential homes at city entrances, a topic you folks know well. Amendments to Con Brown Harbor Overlay Ordinance and Mayor Pro Tem Scruggs. Sorry about that.
I was just trying to think of a name to call you.
Scruggs has pointed out this important issue where there is incongruity between what the ordinance says and what is actually occurring out there. Short-term rentals, again, Mayor Pro Tem Scruggs and Councilmember Knight have brought this up, a good issue. But on the other hand, I don't know what's going to happen with that with the legislature and what's going on right now. So
Correct.
Maybe we'll know something by next week as far as what's happening with that and what we are allowed to do or not allowed to do. Or maybe Roxanne has an update on that.
It's on the House. It's on the Senate floor right now, being debated.
Okay, thank you.
We'll know something by tomorrow.
Thank you. Follow up on right-of-way abandonment of East Blossom. We have talked about that issue also, and parking requests from Kiewit Industries. I'm hoping to have more information on that parking issue because they are also looking at the 40 acres that we have. And that could be an income source for us also on those 40 acres. So the comment from Jason about the bid is absolutely correct, but that's the case with everything that we sell. We have no choice in that. So those are the items, Mayor and Council, as of this moment, scheduled for the work session on a week from tonight.
Okay, and then we're going to have a council. We're going to have a Coastal Bend Mayor's Coalition meeting on Thursday, June 1st, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the Aransas Pass Civic Center.
Correct.
And then we're going to have a City Tire event June 3rd, 2023 at 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. at 533 West Cleveland across from Dairy Queen. Okay. And then we're going to have the second quarter community welcome May 18th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. at the Aransas Pass Civic Center.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to go to citizen comments. Citizen comments are intended for the matters that are not scheduled on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address for the record. Be advised that the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the city council from responding and discussing your comments. The law authorizes the following: make a statement of factual information, recite existing policy, advise that this subject may be placed on the agenda for a subsequent meeting.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jacob. I live in Rockport, Texas. First off, I'd like to thank the Aransas Pass Police Department for allowing me to view the body cam incident of the woman who was chased on March 30th. I have concerns I'd like to bring to the council members. I'm hoping everyone here has seen that video. I urge the citizens to schedule a meeting to view it as well. First off, I want to point to Pointer versus State of Texas. Supreme Court said the defendant has the right to cross-examine evidence. However, in Davis versus Washington, 911 calls are not cross-examinable by the witness by the Supreme Court. Based off the discussion I had with Assistant Chief Jones, all charges are based off the 911 call incident. Finally, I want to talk about Graham versus Connell. In Graham versus Connell, the lens of the officer is prioritized over any hindsight. In officer lenses, we see a woman jaywalking, granted, across the street to a parked school bus to pick up her kids in a normal fashion. However, in the C comments on 4.3 YouTube, minute 56, Blanchard uses past events that happen remotely, aka hindsight, and even mentions a faulty 911 call that was used in hindsight with this stop. How much time do I have left?
A minute and 18 seconds.
Thank you. Finally, I'd like to close out with the Texas Department of Police de-escalation is every 4 years. I am looking for more information on this, but police tasered this woman within 3 minutes, 30 seconds of activating a body cam in a patrol car, getting out, bull rushing her, taking her child from her arms, and tasering her. And as I said in Graham vs. Connor, with the lens of the body cam footage, there's no evidence. This is an abuse of force. I find it highly disturbing, and I ask that we take a sincere look into this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, now we're gonna go into executive session on section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiation related to 1711 West Wheeler Avenue, Aransas Pass, Texas, and it is 6:56.
ready? I make a motion to approve, oh, we will reconvene in open session at 8:01. And I will make a motion to approve a letter of support to be sent to the Texas Legislature for a proposed rider to House Bill 1 offered by Representative Todd Hunter and Senator Chuy Hinojosa for 60 inpatient psychiatric, forensic, and chronic long-term beds at 1711 West Wheeler in Aransas Pass, Texas.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.